Well, I was always into fashion, from the time I was probably a small child, and my mother dressed me up in the most creative outfits. When I got to be about 12 or 13, I realized that you could just make all your own clothes and you could look like other people didn't. So I knew how to sew, and I started making clothing from, new patterns, just sewing, and also remaking clothing.
I was a high school in Sweden, and I wanted to become a museum curator. That seemed to me the ultimate life dream. I got a scholarship to come to the United States in 1960, and I went to the University of Arizona to study anthropology. Coming to America was really an amazing experience for me. I experienced freedom, fun, sun, all of which to some degree don't exist real well in Sweden. I met my husband-to-be while my husband was getting his master's degree in counseling psychology, and we did go back to Sweden to get married because that way I could legally come back to the United States. I had a checkered career. I was a furniture display person for a furniture store called Sam Levitt's, and I did that for about 2 years, and then they fired me. So I thought, well, maybe I should learn, real skills. This was in 1974. So I went to the community college because I had a BA in anthropology, which was fairly useless, actually entirely useless. So I took shorthand and typing. Both shorthand I had to drop out like after about 3 weeks. I couldn't handle that. So then I started spending all my time going to the thrift stores because I liked to do it, and I would find in those days you could find amazing stuff for like $1 or 50 cents or something. I think it was just the joy of finding it. We never had money, so it's like this was a way to get stuff that was really nice for very little or version of money. Why should this stuff remain in the thrift store when it could go home with me?
My mother loved thrift stores, loved thrift stores.
I have that rummaging root instinct, but not everybody enjoys rummaging. So I thought, well, I'm not really doing much else anyway. And for some reason or other, I came upon the idea that there must be other people who are equally addicted to this kind of shopping. Maybe I could open a store. I kind of thought I would like to try to work for myself. And so I presented my husband with the idea. He was all for it. So I found this little spot by the University of Arizona. It was 400 square feet. It was small, yes, and they rented me the space for $100 a month. And we just opened up, and we thought we could just, buy, sell, and trade. So it was kind of a joint effort between me and Spencer about how to do the business. I come from Sweden, and Buffalo sounded very American to me. Couldn't think of a more American thing than a buffalo. It was in 1974, and the concept of recycling was just kind of entering people's way of thinking. People thought of secondhand something. Either they didn't want it because their sister had worn it before and they didn't want to wear it, or they thought it was not clean. Our model was to make a store that was very, very cute, and then have only really, really nice things in there. I thought I should learn something about business though, so I started looking for books to read, but there wasn't anything. So I did finally find one that had great influence on me, and it was called How to Start Your Own Swap Shop, and it had a copyright date in 1940. So, but it told you basics about, how to do a store kind of like ours. I was completely addicted to shopping, so all the stuff that was in this store came from my house. Well, it was only 400 square foot. This is like the era of vintage slips and Mexican square dance dresses and things like that. They never really fit me, and even though I could sew, I had a little bit too much to alter all these things. So I just sort of loaded them up and took them down to the store. So we scrounged. We got bicycle wheels, and they were our hanging racks from the ceiling. Then we got milk crates, and we sprayed them black. They were the metal ones. And that was our store fixtures, along with an old school table that still had gum stuck under it. We hired a friend. We had a little refrigerator, which we stocked with beer. And every day at 4 o'clock, we broke out the beer and, gave it to ourselves and to our customers. But one day the police department came in. And they told us that this was not a good idea. They didn't cite us, but we stopped at that point. So of course everybody was feeling really sorry for us because they thought though this was cute and seemed like fun, they couldn't conceive that we would actually make money at this. They said, how could two educated people go into something like this? Well, what did they know? I mean, they didn't know anything more than we did, right? And then people just started coming in and bringing in all their stuff that they wanted to sell. And they were amazing things. And I was like thinking, this is interesting. Most common price was $350. So we said, we're going to sell this for $350. And you get, what did you get? 50% in cash and 60% in trade. I never thought that I wouldn't do something that maybe wouldn't succeed. And if it didn't succeed, I didn't really care. At least I got to do something I wanted to do. My husband, though, he did worry more. He used to be an elementary school teacher, then he was a school counselor, and then he became a librarian. And he was a librarian at the University of Arizona. He didn't particularly love this job. And by April, my husband could leave his job, and he started helping me with the store. He started doing books, ads, running the registers, etc. He knew a little bit more about business than I did.
My husband was a very unusual visual person, and he did all kinds of unusual ads, I must say. He had a friend, and they created, really outrageous ads. And I think they got us, publicity as well.
The first thing happened is that there was a shoemaker next door, and he died. So then the landlord asked if we wanted to rent that space too. So then we had 800 square feet.
And that was pretty soon after we opened, maybe like 8 or 9 months. And then after that, we got a bigger store, another store here in Tucson.
Well, I was 9 when we started. We put the rubber bands on the hangers. That was a job. You could sit in the back and watch reruns on TV. As soon as I was old enough, I worked register.
So I came into Buffalo Exchange being hired on by Kerstin and Spencer as store manager for the Tempe store. And at that time, we were the only store outside of the Tucson hub. And from there, things just really never stopped. Maybe 1 to 2 years in, we knew that our shop was too small.
We started thinking of where we could go next.
It was always just a store here, a store there.
It was like exciting. It's like, oh, this is fun. It took off very crazy.
At Buffalo Exchange, you can buy, trade, and sell new and recycled clothing. Why pay high prices at the malls when you can save at Buffalo Exchange? We have the latest styles to choose from. Check out your closet and bring in the outfit you want to trade or sell. We pay cash on the spot, no waiting. Buffalo Exchange will take only what we can sell. The best. You'll look at your closet in a whole new way because your closet is our warehouse. Buffalo Exchange on the corner of East Helen and Euclid and 6538 East Tanca Verde in La Plaza shops.
I had no clue. I thought it's worth a try.
Oh, I had no idea. No. I could not have thought that it would go anywhere past the little shop, and I mean little shop.
It took us a good 7 or 8 years after we'd been in business where we actually thought about things like business model.
When I started full-time in 1990, I don't even think we had 15 stores.
For me, it was just pure competitive spirit.
And so it was kind of like getting your business degree that neither one of us had, like in a reasonably short time period. It kind of really spurred me on to look at my business, my husband and I both, to see, what could we do to make ourselves better.
My parents took a lot of time and effort to make sure that they were running a business they felt good about. It was moral, it was based on treating people well.
We're not first and foremost profit-driven. We have strived to make a living for ourselves and for our employees and to reinvest in our company. Some of our employees have worked with us most of their adult lives, just like I have grown up at Buffalo Exchange, they have. Everybody works to have engaged customers, well, we work to have engaged employees.
That's the beauty of Buffalo Exchange is, how do we do that?
Somehow it was this perfect business that benefits everybody, and it's just a really honest company.
Our fundamental values of having this be a mutually beneficial workplace for our employees as well as for our customers to come and shop at. We value people, all of our people.
I think Spencer made that very clear, right from the get-go, and just believing in people working hard and getting something out of it.
We work really hard, but we have a lot of fun.
We kind of stuck with that model, and that has worked. We've kept some very long-term people do enjoy having a workplace where they can excel and feel good about themselves and the work that they're doing. I didn't realize in the beginning that I was going to make it a career.
I shopped at Buffalo Exchange starting in probably 1975 or 76. I started with Buffalo Exchange in 1984.
I started in 1989. I just never had the desire to leave. I kept loving what I was doing. You've got the thrill of going through the clothing, a lot of high energy. The customers that are coming in are having a blast. You're working with like-minded people.
We didn't know we were just going to be able to blossom here and, and also express ourselves, not just in our fashion and the way that we put ourselves together every day, but in our talents.
This company has given me more opportunities to reinvent myself and to learn new skills and to evolve. And I've never needed to go somewhere else in order to keep a growth path for myself.
When you work for Buffalo Exchange, it changes your life. It changes who you are. It also transforms your wardrobe.
We value individuals and creativity. People always ask me, do you have to have tattoos for work for Buffalo Exchange? Or do you have to have red and blue hair? And I say, no, you don't at all. Actually, we hire lots of people that don't have any of these attributes, but then when they've been there for about 4 months, they look like that. So I can't help that. But we do actually have a lot of various different looking employees. The key thing is that we can hire people that we call them, they're fashion obsessed.
Buffalo Exchange is a party. A magical place. Really a whole experience. It's kind of like Disneyland for the fashion world. A big treasure hunt.
Unique.
My favorite thing about working at Buffalo, it is the clothing and it's the people.
We work as a team. We just have fun every day.
I get to dress however I want, and no matter how weird it is, there's always somebody like, yes!
The biggest thing I've learned is just go for it.
It's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to ask for help.
It's not like a normal retail job. Buffalo Exchange really values developing people.
You can kind of come as you are.
If you don't believe in yourself, someone's gonna believe in you at Buffalo.
You're not just a number, you're a person. It's allowed me to try a lot of different things and really build my skills. Business training, interpersonal skills training, training on fashion, clothing, vocabulary.
I am a stronger, more confident person because of working at Buffalo.
They pay you to be you, and it's a long-term career because at 21, I started, and now I can't imagine doing anything else.
For me, the thing that I'm the most proud of is that we have been able to grow people and empower people, especially women, because working at Buffalo Exchange makes you a more powerful person because you're looking at people's clothes and you're saying yes, no, and things like that. People in Tucson, though, they do remember me personally as the person who never bought their clothes.
It is easier to say yes than it is to say no. When you're strong and when you feel powerful and you're confident, that's when you are able to stand up and do the right things and be able to say no when it's appropriate to say no.
In my life, I have learned that people really have the ability to choose what they want to be. I have been able to work with my passions, which are clothing, the visual world, and bargain hunting. We kind of, over the years, have been able to turn the concept of used clothing into an ecological fashion statement. Nowadays, it's actually both chic and moral to recycle. And we provide a venue for people to recycle their clothing and turn a basically worthless asset into cash.
I see that we're going to continuously improve. And besides that, you don't know what's going to happen to you. That's one thing I have learned. So you just kind of take it as it comes. You can always have the goal of being better and growing your company and enjoying yourself while you're doing it.
I'm just very grateful to Kerstin and Rebecca for what they've brought and that we're all still working together. I love it.
Thanks to Kerstin and Spencer and Rebecca and Vella for creating the kind of place that people like me and all the other people that work here can thrive and find an alternate pathway to success and a career and a home.
It's all been fairly organic. Like you put the lobster in the pot and you turn on the gas and then the lobster is cooked. And we have a big company. It's way beyond me at this point. I would say it's given meaning to my life beyond anything I ever thought possible. It has been just an absolutely remarkable thing to be able to work with and create and grow with. And besides that, it's the clothes.